And welcome once again to the Tom Sawyer Show. I'm Grant Wall, joined by Winona State head football coach Tom Sawyer. And Coach, senior day here at Maxwell Field of Rise-Marler Stadium. 19 seniors that got to play their last game here in Winona in front of the home fans, and a great way to send them out, getting a 47-20 victory over Southwest Minnesota State.
Yeah, 2 weeks in a row we had great days. Just had the weather was perfect. We had a nice tailgate going on. We didn't have as many people this weekend with Halloween weekend. I think a lot of the students bugged out. But yeah, for our seniors, that's what this program is really about, is making sure that they have the greatest experience they can. And ironically, the 15 out of the 19 seniors were 5-year guys. They've been here all the way through, red-shirted, did the whole thing. And those guys are going to be great alumni for us. So I'm very proud of those guys, and even more importantly than that, the way that they played. And you saw that from Curtis Dewberry and many of the seniors, Alex Nelson and Matt Cadley, Matt Ulrich, and then what goes on and on. But they played their tail off, and so did everybody else in honor of those guys.
And we'll get to some of those guys specifically here in a second. But back to those 4- and 5-year seniors. That's really the bedrock, the foundation of your program, bringing guys in who are there for the long haul and who are here for 4 or 5 years. Something that really you've tried to do and have been able to do to build this program right.
Yeah, Grant, we call it program at work. And, we do so much with our football kids in and around the communities and all that. And really what we're trying to do is build a better person. And as a student athlete, kids, as they go through our program, if they survive it and go through all the way through, we're seeing the result at the other end. They're graduating, many with honors, and going on to get that first job and in a high-level first job. But they are new people. They are ready for the challenges of life, and that in 5 years, that's what I always hope with these guys, is they walk across the stage at the end and really have fulfilled all their dreams as a collegiate athlete, and that's what we call a program at work.
Absolutely, and it really shows out on the field, seeing all of those guys who are here making the huge contributions, like, as you mentioned, Alex Nelson and Curtis Dewberry. Curtis rushing for a career high, over 150 yards. Both he and Rayon Simmons over 150 yards. The ground attack was really working, clicking on all cylinders, really, on Saturday.
Yeah, it's been that way all year. When we're rushing the football well, we win. I mean, it's that simple. And the other big component was that we are, you get off to a fast start. And when Ryan Williams took back a pick at, about the 44-second mark, we were rolling. But the biggest thing with those guys is Curtis was inspired. His mom was here for the first time to watch him play college football in Winona. And Rayon's just doing his thing, but what a compliment it was, those two guys. And our hats go off to that offensive line, who did a tremendous job.
And Curtis set the tone right away. It was the second or third play that the Warriors had. He breaks a long gain, did it another time later in the first half, but he really set the tone with his play right away, getting you off to that fast start.
Yeah, if you just saw him during pregame, I mean, he was all teared up and he was all jacked up all at the same time, so really rushing with a lot of emotion. And, kids like him that are from a long ways from home, Winona State becomes his family, and the coaches become his family, and really, you could tell in the locker room before the game that there was something going on with him that was going to be special, and it was, and he just turned it up, and it was really fun watching him.
And while he goes for a career high, his running mate, Rayon Simmons, goes for a career high as well, 200 yards. Just another workhorse-type game for Rayon. Breaks a couple runs, but he was always just keeping the legs churning and kept moving the chains throughout the entire game.
Yeah, well, you've seen now 2 weeks in a row where Rayon is healthy again, and when he's healthy, he can breaks a lot of tackles. He makes a few people miss, or he'll stick his head down and get a couple more inches. But he's a very polished running back. He's not a guy that's going to run away from a lot of people, but he's going to make things happen. And you keep giving it to him, he just keeps coming, and that's the healthy Rayon that we're used to.
On the other side of the football, held Southwest to just 99 rushing yards. And they came into the game with a high-powered offense, the second straight week where you've gone against a high-powered throwing-type attack. And they really couldn't get any momentum going throughout the game.
Yeah, they had a little success in the first half or in the second quarter even with the little bubble screen stuff and those little passing game, which really turns out to be their running game most of the time anyway. But that West Coast style of offense, we made some nice adjustments. Coach Curtin and Coach Braun did a nice job on that, and we got that shut down, and then it kind of went one-dimensional. They had a couple nice runs late in the game, but it didn't matter. We got it shut down and kept them out of the end zone, and then we separated with our running game.
And you mentioned him before, not a senior, but Ryan Williams, get him back next year, so that has to be exciting. But he 15 tackles, returns an interception for a touchdown, recovers another fumble. He's a guy who has just been all over the field for you all year long.
Yeah, he has. You know, he's been playing as a high level as anybody in the conference at the safety position, leading the team in tackles, up there in the conference tackles, and from the position, you look at, he's really doing an outstanding job. Again, Ryan is healthy. Mm-hmm. He did miss a game earlier in the year, but he came back. Last year he was battled with injuries all year. When he's healthy, he can make a lot of plays, and you saw that on Saturday.
Absolutely. So now let's move forward to your game this Saturday against Mary on the road, a Mary team that is much improved, and a team that beat you last year. What do you have to do to slow them down?
Well, we just got to stay away from big plays. I mean, last year we ran the football for almost 300 yards and had 35 minutes of possession and lost the football game. So we just got to finish, and what I mean by that is finish each play, finish each drive in the end zone, and score some more points. They've been putting up over 30 a game as well. So they got some, Bagnell's a good quarterback, and they've been hitting a couple big plays, big strikes with their receivers as well. So we stay away from the big play and ground it out and control the clock. We should do just fine.
A long road trip to Bismarck this weekend. What is there anything that you do differently on this long road trip to break things up, to get the kids acclimated to a surrounding that's a long ways away from what they're used to?
Well, on Thursday night we're going to go through an igloo building, seminar to make sure that our kids know how to do that in case we get stranded. If you get stranded in Bismarck in first part of November,
there's no coming back.
You may not get home till April.
That's
so
right.
We're prepared for that. Looks like a high of 35 and snow, so it's going to be awesome. We're going to have a great trip, and we're running out of time with these seniors and this group of kids, so I'm very excited about the trip.
Absolutely, and it's going to be a great game. 2 more left. They're both on the road, but still a lot of things for Winona State to play for. It's going to be very, very fun to watch this Saturday as the Warriors take on the University of Mary. We will be right back on the Tom Sawyer Show. Rashad Gayden sits down with Steve Carley, talks a little bit about his senior season with the Warriors.
Financial startophobia. Fear of financial endeavors causing putting off till the day after tomorrow that which should have been done the day before yesterday.
If you have financial startophobia, I would recommend Merchants Bank. I had a little touch of financial startophobia, had a good recommendation, I went to the bank and had a great experience. Merchants Bank has personal service. I'm not afraid of anything. They've been around for over 130 years. You know who you're dealing with. Merchants Bank, the bank that service built.
Are you looking for great off-campus housing? Great River Management and Sales has a large selection of houses and apartments representing many of Winona's property owners. Owners and renters rely on Great River Management. Stop by the Great River Boat at Main and Broadway and see what we can do for you.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the Tom Sawyer Show. I'm Steve Carley, your voice of the Warriors, and joining me on the Tom Sawyer Show is Rashad Gayden, linebacker for your Winona State Warriors on the defensive side of the football. And Rashad, welcome to the show. You're a transfer, come from San Jose State. You and your brother actually getting to play together. Now, tell the viewers, how's that been like, being able to reunite with your brother and play college football together?
Well, it's been a great experience. We've always been playing football together. We've been coming up together playing football since 6th grade. So, it's great to be back, back home playing with him again. It's a great feeling.
That's good. And, coming from the Division I level down to the Division II level, what kind of differences has there been?
Well, I wouldn't say it's not that too much of a difference because, football is football. You got great players on every level, great coaches. So, probably, a little bit better competition, throughout the whole season. But, we face some quality opponents that can play on the Division I level here at Winona State, So we face some quality Division I caliber opponents. So it's not too much of a difference.
You've been on campus since August, the start of the fall semester. What has been the greatest moment since becoming a Winona State Warrior?
The greatest moment, beating St. Cloud State. That was the biggest moment for me. That was a big win. So that's probably the biggest moment so far.
Coming off that nice win against Southwest Minnesota State on Saturday, you guys on the defensive side of the ball really got after the quarterback. What did the coaching staff really hamper on in the week leading up, taking a look at the Mustangs?
Well, we just needed to be, focus on, on the little things, getting to our drops, getting to our passing lanes, So basically, we knew they like to pass the ball a lot, so we had to be on our game as far as the passing game, So
you have 2 weeks of the season left, 2 games to really kind of put yourselves out there and show what you guys have to offer if you want to make it into postseason play. Upcoming this week, we have that long bus trip coming on Friday up to the University of Mary in Bismarck, North Dakota, and the forecast for the weekend it's supposed to be 35 degrees and snow. I don't know if have you ever played in snow before?
No, actually, I've never played in the snow before. It should be, quite the experience. I'm gonna have to just bundle up.
And now, coming up to this Saturday, I know you guys have probably, started to look over at the tape at the Marauders, but what are you guys really going to try to improve on over last week?
Just attention to detail. We want to, play want to dominate the game for the whole 4 quarters. We're trying to get a shutout this week. We're gonna have to be, assignment sound this week, really. Because this team puts up a whole lot of points, so we're gonna have to stop their passing attack. So we're gonna have to, attention to detail. Really, that's what it is.
All right, and now just kind of a fun little segment just to kind of get to know Rashad, Gayden, the linebacker. Before a game, do you have a normal routine that you go through? Do you listen to music? Do you eat a certain food?
I don't have any, routine or nothing. I just try to get my mind right, get focused, and ready for the game. So I don't really have any special things that I do.
All right. Well, thank you, Rashad, for coming on the Tom Sawyer Show. Graham will return and wrap this thing up.
Are you looking for great off-campus housing? Great River Management and Sales has a large selection of houses and apartments representing many of Winona's property owners. Owners and renters rely on Great River Management. Stop by the Great River Boat at Main and Broadway and see what we can do for you.
Financial startophobia. Fear of financial endeavors causing putting off till the day after tomorrow that which should have been done the day before yesterday.
If you have financial startophobia, I would recommend Merchants Bank. I had a little touch of financial startophobia, had a good recommendation, I went to the bank and had a great experience. Merchants Bank has personal service. I'm not afraid of anything. They've been around for over 130 years. You know who you're dealing with. Merchants Bank, the bank that's service built.
And welcome back to the Tom Sawyer Show. Grant Wall joined by offensive line coach and co-offensive coordinator AJ Blazek. And Coach Blazek, it was a huge game for your guys up front, the offensive line. You go for over 500 yards of total offense against Southwest on Saturday, and more exciting probably for you, way over 300 yards on the ground. Everything was really clicking for your unit up front on Saturday.
It was definitely a great game. It reminded kind of the Upper Iowa when things are just balls are bouncing your way and you're hitting holes, and the kids played hard. That's what when they played their tails off, it's good things are usually going to happen. But Coach put the challenge out early in the week. We're going to have to hang it on the run game and challenge them to 300 on Tuesday, and we talked about it all week, and they jumped out and they were excited about it. I mean, our starters at the end were, Coach, I ain't coming out until we get 300, and so those goals and those motivators, definitely helped.
Everybody knows about Curtis Dewberry, Rayon Simmons, and Theo Burkett, who's missed a couple games now. Yeah. Everybody knows what they bring and what they can do. As an offensive line coach, is it different when you're trying to block for a guy like Rayon, who's kind of that power back, as opposed to Curtis, who's a little more of a scamperer, a guy who likes to get outside and hit holes? Do you have to do some things differently up front for those guys?
As far as the blocking, not really. As play callers, we kind of think, okay, he might be a little better at this stuff, or he's a little better at this stuff. But they all kind of run our whole system. What's nice is you see Ray will get in there and kind of, Coach used the term vintage Rayon. Yeah. He's going to grind it out, and people laying on him and hanging on him and drag him another couple yards. And, that's his game where Kurt will hit the same hole, but it's 2 steps ahead, and maybe he's untouched out on a safety right away. Yeah. And so that's, they hit it differently. I think that's tougher on the defense than it is us. But the blocking's for the most part usually the same. You see some different schemes. There was a play where Nick Faber's pulling out on an outside defender, and our fullback actually beats him. Mm-hmm. So we got to kind of be conscious of who's working together, but not so much with the backs.
All right. As we go forward, 2 more games, both of them on the road. You've got some momentum going offensively. What do you have to do to keep going and building on these last 2 performances where you ran the ball very, very well?
Well, and Coach Sawyer talks to us offensively, defensively, players, coaches all the time. And you come off that tough stretch of those 3 games, and we did what we did. Obviously, good ball clubs. But, you're trying new stuff. You're trying to evolve. You're trying to continue to grow and show new pictures. But we're really just doing what we do right now. We're a power zone team, and, we've really done a nice job with our outside game this year. So that's been an extra compliment for us. And that's just what we're going to hang our hat on. You got a quarterback that can get us in the right situations. If you need to check something, he can see it and get us into it. That's a product of being in the system for Nelly, where maybe a young guy who maybe he's a better passer, this, that, or the other, just doesn't understand how it all works together yet. So we're taking Nelly's advantage, and whether it's run or pass, letting him check us into some stuff, that is the best chance for success.
You mentioned Nelly, senior quarterback Alex Nelson. He's the third starting quarterback that you've had this year. Guy's gotten a little banged up. We talked about, do you have to do anything different for guys like Theo and Curtis and Ray blocking-wise? Does that change for quarterbacks, or is it kind of the same where you run the same stuff and let them go?
Grant, the system we're in right now is with when John went down and we kind of said, hey, he's probably not going to be able to play the rest of the year. It was a wholehearted switch. So all week, Bradshaw's taking the snaps and the cadence. It's more the operation and the tempo and kind of the way a quarterback handles the huddle. That's the biggest thing.
Just getting used to a new personality.
No question. Because we don't do a lot different. Maybe one guy does, like I said, with the running backs, that they handle certain situations a little better. So you try and get them in those situations. But, and when Brian got hurt, that whole game against Duluth, the linemen are, hey, it sounds like he's, chewing gum and he's trying to talk at the same time, and you give him another week, and hey, that's just how the huddles run now. But you hear stuff differently, and guys lead differently. It's neat to watch that. But it's really, we've been able to do it where it's a full change. Where last year it was Evan and Brian and Evan, and I think the way it's been this year has actually been easier for the linemen and everybody else.
And as banged up as that quarterback position has been, the offensive line has been relatively injury-free so far this season. You're able to get consistently the same group of guys out on the field. How much of that is how much of an advantage is that as we're in the late stage of the season where guys are still healthy and still playing well?
Well, it's huge. It's you got a couple new starters in there from last year. Both Christensen and Lilla are guys that started last year as redshirt freshmen, so they're just sophomores. Vance Ross is mixed in with Matt. Matt Mason's a senior who kind of knows it all, and Vance is coming in as a freshman. Started 3 or 4 games this year, redshirt freshman, so he's new. Nick Faber, who's kind of become a staple for us, he lost his partner in Enos last year, so he's kind of getting Mason and him are on the same page at times where Vance might not be, and that communication's been important. Just the more they play together, the better they get, and the numbers is what it's all about. I think we have 19 linemen, and knock on wood, with 2 weeks left, we've got every kid off the injury report, so no nicks or dings or anything.
That's good to see going forward. And last question, some young guys on the line, but you mentioned a couple of those seniors, Faber and Mason. What have guys like that meant to this team and this program, the leadership and then the skills that they bring to the field? It's
been huge. It's because it's not always easy. Not everybody gets to play. You got 18 to 20 linemen, and we'll travel 9 guys right now that are eligible. Next year it's going to get crazier because we got 6 freshmen coming up that all of a sudden now you got 15 kids that are eligible to go on bus trips. It's not just who plays and doesn't play. Next year it's going to be who's on the bus and who's not. So the competition's awesome. That's what's really saved us, and not our starters aren't taking every single rep of practice. So it's you lose a little bit on looks, but they save their bodies. They're faster on game day. They're physical down the stretch here. You should be getting ready for the playoffs.
Absolutely.
And what we talk about. So that's the biggest thing, is numbers and competition have really helped it all.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much for joining us, Coach.
Thanks.
Remember, Saturday, University of Mary. It's in Bismarck, but still tune in. You can listen to that game on 89.5 KQAL, and if you're not in the Winona area, you can still catch it on KQAL.org. We will see you next week on the Tom Sawyer Show. Thanks for watching.